But Johnny, we'll start with Caleb Williams to begin with. First, he was the first pick, obviously, in the draft this year. They beat the Buffalo Bills 33-6. What I like about this is we've already had the first episode of Hard Knock come out as well, so we're seeing a bit more of Caleb Williams than we're seeing any other of the rookie quarterbacks. I mean, 4 for 7, 95 yards, no touchdowns, but 13 rushing yards. A lot of expectation on this guy's shoulders, John. Do you think he sort of delivered?
Yeah, absolutely. I think by far the most lofty expectations of any quarterback in this group, because he went first overall. The Bears have been longing for a franchise quarterback for so long, and I think over the weekend, in the small chunk that we saw of him, we saw that he probably looked the best of the group. I think his what comes across, I think, for me is his physicality and his athleticism when you compare that to Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky, who coincidentally was playing against him. I feel Williams just has the look of a real franchise quarterback for Chicago. Not least as well that Chicago have gone all after to put an offense that is capable of winning a lot of football games with quality all over the field. We saw a bit of that. DeAndre Swift had a big play. I think DJ Moore as well came in. Obviously, he's been around for a few years now. But things seem to be really clicking. And, I think as the preseason goes on, and obviously, start the season in September, we'll see a lot more of Caleb Williams. But at the moment, I think people will be very happy, and I think Bears fans, that perception of this guy being a generational talent have really been enforced. He's going to be someone who a lot of people are going to really enjoy watching as this season and his career unfolds.
I am going to have to admit, I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks, and if Andrew and Adam were here, obviously being big college guys, they would probably say that everything he did in this game is what they completely expected of Caleb, and how he was on Hard Knocks is completely what they expected. I have fell in love with this guy. I really think he's got something. I really think he has. I think he carries himself very well. Hard Knocks, we do have to remember, will paint things in certain lights. This is
Absolutely.
not sort of unbiased media by any stretch of the imagination. It is very much putting a pedestal, putting these players on pedestals and painting them in a very good light. We're not going to see exactly loads of negatives. However, players have been criticised when being on Hard Knocks in the last few years. But I just ultimately, I really liked him. He seems like a great professional, a leader. There was, some people were doubting him because of his extravagant behavior. Well, if you call extravagant behavior painting your nails and having a bit of a goofy phone case, then that's extravagant behavior. I don't know what, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous to think that was going to affect anything to do on the football field. It doesn't matter what that pertains to or what anything in that shed of light. This guy is a true professional, a true leader, and I think he's going to do great things for Chicago. I think he looked really composed in the pocket, really good on the run. We got to see the slide. They obviously did the water slide stuff in Hard Knocks, which if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It's a really good episode, and it's going to obviously, I think it's about 6 episodes, so there's lots to come of that. And he's also got that swag. I saw him do that slide, and he sort of did that whole first down hand gesture, and I just thought, this guy's not lacking in confidence. This guy knows exactly what he's about, and we talked about it in the previous episode. The offense for this team really. This looks like a real offense, doesn't it now, Johnny? I mean, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet. This feels like really this could be the start of something really, really big for Chicago. And I think this is exactly how they felt when Justin Fields came in, and it's just not really worked out. But I think this is totally different with Caleb, isn't it?
Yeah, I really hope so as well. And just to touch on your points about, Hard Knocks, I've watched clips here and there of the show this year, and while I think there have been outcries on Twitter for some of the characteristics that Caleb Williams may have shown, I don't think it's particularly relevant at this stage. I think we we're judging this player on being a franchise quarterback, and we can only judge him when the season really starts. I think he will completely transform the way the Bears play. I think that's this is the centerpiece of what they've been missing is a competent quarterback. Justin Fields, I think, showed signs, but ultimately, I think Caleb Williams is going to be light years ahead of Fields, the now Steelers QB. Really excited to see what the Bears can do. We are putting a lot of pressure on Williams and the Bears to hit the ground running this year, which perhaps I think in 6 months' time we may look back in hindsight if they fail to make the playoffs or don't necessarily go as far as we expected them in year one. But I think all the signs are pointing towards this being a successful year, and I think success is building on that in the next couple of years. So I think we have to be realistic, but yeah, all the signs are there for the Bears to succeed. If not this year, then definitely in the next few years to come with the new quarterback.
Was Alan Shearer say pressures for tyres, and I thought your first time out in front of the Bears fans, first game, first time in the NFL. I didn't think he looked pressured at all. I thought he looked really calm, he knew exactly what he was doing. Even when he was coming out of the pocket, even when there was pressure on him, it looked like he knew what he was doing. I mean, a lot of people compared him to being the next Mahomes. Obviously, that is a very high pedestal to be on. I think he made some movement like Mahomes. I think he's very Mahomes-esque in some of the style he has. But like I do feel about all the preseason, let's wait till December when it gets real cold and it's the Packers coming into your place, or the Lions, or the Vikings, a divisional rival. When push comes to shove, can you really perform? That's going to be the measuring stick for Caleb Williams. I think he can rise to occasion. I really think you do. But I do agree with you, Johnny. But hopefully the pressure isn't so much this season. I think this season is just like, let's just get him comfortable. Let's get him in this offense. Let's get him really connecting with the head coach and the players. And then, okay, we may miss the playoff. We may not even get a great record. But if we can see the signs, you can lose in the right way, can't you? You can win in the wrong way and you can lose in the right way. I'd say the Steelers have won in the wrong way a few times in the last 2 seasons, whereas the Bears, they could lose this year and be on a losing record. But if they lose in the right way, there is positivity going forward. And I think that's really important for Caleb moving forward. So very interested to see how